Greetings and welcome back to the Protecting Veil YouTube channel. I was grateful for a second opportunity to speak with acclaimed Orthodox Christian cultural critic, novelist, gentleman farmer, and essayist Paul Kingsnorth. This interview in many ways acts as a bridge between this channel and the new channel I just launched. Speaking of which, if you haven't already checked out the new channel, please do so now by clicking here. As you may know, Paul talks a lot about our contemporary machine culture and the influence of technology on our lives. My new channel is called You Are Not a Machine, and I will be addressing similar topics there. I'm going to release half of this interview on this channel and the other half on the new channel, so please subscribe to both. There are links below this video where you can do that. So without further ado, here is part of my latest interview with Paul Kingsnorth. Is there one thing that you would say has surprised you the most about becoming a Christian?
It's a very good question, isn't it? Again, going back to what the world tells you about Christianity and what Christianity actually is are very different things. So I grew up believing that Christianity was either oppressive or irrelevant. And it's not either of those things. I think maybe the thing that surprised me most about Christianity, maybe it shouldn't have done, is how nice everybody is. How kind people are in the church, I mean, I just walked into the Romanian church in Ireland as an English guy. No connection to Romania. I just went along to see if they'd let me come and see what was going on at the liturgy, and I didn't know whether they'd want me there or what they would be. And everybody's been so incredibly warm and welcoming, and not just to me, but to other non-Romanians who've gone in there as well. And just generally, wherever I've been, and I've been to a lot of Christian places, I keep getting invited to talk at Christian things and meet Christian people over the last few years. It's been amazing, really. People have just been really kind. It really does feel like a big family. And as I say, maybe I shouldn't be surprised about that, but I think there's such a propaganda operation in place in the world which tells us that Christians are just hateful, repressive people who want to stop you having fun. I'm sure there are some of those around, but I'm not meeting them. I'm meeting really big-hearted, kind people who are really trying to be Christian, and it's wonderful actually, And it's I've been reading a lot about the early church, and it's interesting to think about how the early church spread in the first few centuries when Christianity was illegal and it was very socially unacceptable to be a Christian. There wasn't much missionary work going on. There was no power in it, and yet the church was spreading everywhere. And it seems that the reason for that is that people were meeting Christians and really liking what they saw, because the same thing was happening. There was heart in it and there was love in it, and people said, "Oh, I want to see what that is. I want to join that." Not because they were being told about theology or lectured about going to hell, but because they met these Christians who were living like Christ. And that's what we're all supposed to do. And it's a very joyful thing. And I don't think Christianity would have lasted 5 minutes. And I probably wouldn't have lasted very long as a Christian if that wasn't true. It really is true. And as I say, I'm sure it's not true of everybody, and we can all find criticisms. But yeah, just the love in the church actually is very real. It's very real, and that's been really wonderful. So that's the biggest surprise. And as I say, maybe it shouldn't have been, but it was.
Yeah. Well, in America, we say that, you may have heard this, that Orthodoxy is America's best kept secret. And I think there are many best kept secrets about Orthodoxy, even within Orthodoxy. And it's one of these mysterious things that's going on behind the scenes. As you probably found, it is hard to talk about the faith and to have interviews, to speak publicly, because so many of the things that one experiences you can't speak about, and it's intuition. And that is the sense that I got, and we'll come to this a little bit later when we talk about your peregrinations. But that was one of the things that struck me as well, especially when I left the West and went to Eastern Europe and spent 8 years in Greece. And you do sense that there's this you're part of a family wherever you go. You have, even when they don't can't speak the same language, there's a love and a openness that is very comforting. Yeah.
No, it really is. I mean, I visited a good number of Romanian monasteries last year with my family actually, and everybody, the monks and the nuns were so welcoming to us. You know, just coming in from outside. Um, my wife's not even Orthodox, and they were so welcoming, and it was so yeah, it's just a blessing to go into these places. Actually, I was actually in America a few weeks ago. On a tour, I was doing a couple of talks, and I visited a couple of Orthodox churches there. Actually, one in Wisconsin, yeah, and one in Montana, and yeah, I got the same sort of feeling. There's a real buzz to it as well. In those churches, there was a real sense of some sort of, I don't know if it's a spiritual renewal going on, but there was a real sort of sense of, you know, power, families everywhere, lots of young people, real kind of strength to it. It was lovely actually. So yeah, like you say,
Yes.
there's a secret bubbling along below the surface of the culture that you have to go looking for, but it's exciting when you find it.
You know, as St. Paul said, where the sin abounds,
Mm.
grace abounds
Yeah,
greater.
yeah. I think that's true. You know, I had a sense when I was in America. You know, in one sense, America is Babylon, basically. I mean, this is the giant consumer empire. You know, and as you say, lots of bad things about the place, but there's also a real, you know, America's got a real spiritual heritage, obviously a Christian heritage, and Orthodoxy feels like it's putting down roots there. It feels like it's seeding everywhere, you know, and I find that really interesting. It felt like it was just, actually felt like it was just at the beginning of something, you know,
Mm,
like
mm,
Orthodoxy, you just got a few saints coming along, you know, and they're growing as well, and the church is growing, and it feels lively, and it's just an intuition I've got exactly as you just said that, you know, when America is in one sense is kind of like real cutting edge of modernity, and at the same time that's going to be the place where potentially where the alternative comes from. I think so. That's what it feels like anyway. And as you said, because as again the pro and the con of America is that you're not burdened by the past, you know, which could be a burden in itself. But at the same time, you've got this freedom to do it new, or at least to take the old and to make it in something fresh. So yeah, it felt really like there was something exciting going on actually.
yeah, yeah. Well, obviously, as Orthodox, we always skew towards the old
Mm,
and the
rightly
tradition.
so, rightly so.
Um, Definitely rightly so.
Yeah.
At the same time, there has to be, room for the spirit
Mm,
to to keep to keep uh, the tradition alive.
mm. Well,
Um,
it has to be a living tradition, doesn't it? As you say, rather than a fossilized one. That's the key. You're
yeah,
not you're not reinventing it every 5 minutes, but you have to keep it. You have to keep it alive so that yeah, so that the spirit can flow through it and through us.
yeah.
Hello again. I hope you enjoyed this installment from my interview with Paul Kingsnorth. Again, please subscribe to the new channel and to this channel to be notified when new installments become available. Links below this video, and I will see you soon.